Welcome to the Frisco podcast. I'm your host, Scott Ellis, and today we're joined by Jay Veal from INC Tutoring. I'm going to let you tell us what that stands for in a minute.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me today. I appreciate it. It's been a warm time here in Dallas, Texas, but
yeah, it's
great
heating
to
up.
be here.
It is heating up. It's going to be a hot one today too. So hopefully by the time people are listening to this, it cools off a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, welcome. So talk to us a little bit about INC Tutoring, because you guys, I think you're tackling one of the subjects in particular that tends to be the most challenging for a lot of people.
Right.
And that is math. But that's something you're really good at.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your background in the subject of math, and then how you came to be founding INC Tutoring.
Okay, so first of all, INC Tutoring is it's not complicated tutoring. Folks tend to see it as a catchy name, so to speak, right? My original background was in IT and tech. I spent time working in different fields in IT. Baylor Healthcare. I worked at Microsoft for quite a few years. Worked in other healthcare IT organizations as well. But at the end of the day, what I kind of found out was I like IT. I don't necessarily love it as much as I do education. And so what happened was over a course of time of working in the IT field, got a chance to get acquainted with education space around 2008. Quite an interesting story, because I had just got hired by a guy for healthcare IT, and I was supposed to take over the role as an operations director. And within about 3 months, I was like, "Hey, man, I had to talk to you." He was like, "What you need to talk to me about?" And I'm just like, "Well, I kind of had this conversation with the Lord, right?" And he said, I need to go into education, so I'm not gonna, I'm no longer gonna be able to be here. And he's like, "Man, I just hired you so you could take my position." And so I think it was a disappointing factor for him, but at the end of the day, I had to do what was right for my, for my calling and what my future was gonna be. So decided to leave, and then started teaching actually in 2008. I taught at a school called Townview Science Engineering. I taught pre-AP pre-calculus, pre-AP Algebra 2, and a course called Fast Track Mathematics, which was interesting because I had to teach freshmen 3 whole years of math in 1 year. Ouch. So it's crazy, right? So, teaching pre-AP geometry in an academic calendar year, and then taking a whole year of Algebra 2 and squeezing it in one semester, first semester, and then second semester teaching them the whole year of pre-calculus in one semester. So at the end of the day, sophomore year, they're ready for AP Calc, which is kind of different, right?
Wow.
When normal sophomores take geometry at that time. So did that for a whole year, did very, very well. My kids got 100% committed on the state exam at that time. Then I moved to Cedar Hill 9th grade center, did Algebra 1, then finished off went to Uplift Education. I actually started our AP Calculus program, and then taught pre-AP pre-cal, and was an assistant basketball coach, of all things, women's basketball coach. So that was interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then I went to Duncanville and did an Algebra 2 and math models. And then at that point, I took a pause in my education career and decided to go back to IT one last time, and went to Microsoft as a technical account manager. I got an offer I couldn't refuse. So I did that for another couple of years. And then I said, I had a conversation with myself and said, "Hey, what is the best way for you to really make the biggest impact for your life?" Well, the answer was back in education. So I decided to come back out and got an offer as an instructional coach. So this time, after 4.5 years of teaching actual, academia and mathematics, I became an instructional coach, teaching teachers how to teach math for 3 years.
Wow.
Did that at Adamson High School in Dallas ISD, and brought them up from a 62% pass rate to a 92% pass rate in the year I was there. So it was a good impact. And then I left there to go to DeSoto district as a STEM instructional coach over a STEAM program in partnership with the Department of Education in DC. Ran that for a year, brought them up to 82% passing, and just really had fun with it. Became an adjunct professor at Strayer University for 4 years. So I really was engulfed in the education scene. And so during the course of time, in 2013 was when I kind of had the vision, when I was in education space, to start INC Tutoring. And, the vision was what's out there right now, right? You have personal tutors who go out and handle things. You have centers, but the way to bridge the gap between a holistic scenario of including different stakeholders, like, the parents, the teachers, the counselors, the students, the team, maybe coaches if they're, part of sports, and then of course the students, right, to ensure that they have the best academic experience possible. Something like that was not out there, while providing back end support to the students and providing mentoring to the students. So at the end of the day, you have this 360 degree level of support for the student while they're getting tutoring, for them to continue to get A's and B's. Right now, our percentage is about 95% of our students in all 48 content areas get A's and B's. And we're talking about they come to us, maybe failing or getting D's, right? But we bring them to that level of success within about 4 weeks max. And those that come to us doing well, we accelerate them to about 6 weeks ahead of their student, their class. So it's pretty cool in how we do things.
Okay, well, you kind of answered my next question, and that is what is different about INC? What makes you guys different? So let's dive a little deeper into that, because I think as parents are listening to this, you're talking about including everyone that is really connected to that student and their academic life in some way, shape, or form. First of all, what is the age range that you guys work with? And then tell us kind of how that 360-degree view works. How do you pull all those people into that student's success?
Circle, right? So first of all, we are the only tutoring organization out here in this region that actually tutors students from 5 years old, which is first grade, all the way up to the PhD level. So we go to the doctorate level, and most of the students that come to us for doctorate help are coming to us for statistics type of things, right, to finish their degrees. We are in a scenario where when we look at our process, we bring students in, right, young or adult learners, and we have a consultation with them. Our consultation is pretty comprehensive with about 22 questions. It's built to get to know them. And if they're a student in high school or college and below, depending on their support level, then we would interact with their parents and them to understand what really are your needs. How can we get to know you as a person? Because tutoring, I would say it's about 85% relationship build, and then 15% of the actual content. Because if you go into a tutoring scenario and you don't have a great relationship, the student's going to not listen to you the whole time anyway. Right. So then you're wasting money, you're wasting time, and you're not getting the actual goal accomplished. And so being able to have that 22-question consultation completed, and then at that point, if it's a student, we're interacting with those counselors. We actually email, so we'll email and keep in the loop, the communication loop with all the stakeholders. So the goal is to get the curriculum calendar and mapping, which in this case, the map is going to be an actual TEAC guided scenario. So if they're in the public school system, they work with TEACs, right? So we get to know day by day, what are they learning day by day? And then on the calendar side of the house, by content, what subject content are they learning? So it could be a certain TEAC number, but it could be system of equations, right? So that is what we need to know on the calendar end. So that gives us a map to say, hey, we want to get this student these few weeks ahead of this topic, and this is exactly how we're going to do it. So being in fact that we get the chance to know those particular two items, then we have communication processes with the teacher to let them know, hey, we're going to be working with this student over a course of time. We want to have you as a stakeholder and a partner, right? Not as somebody, we're not against you. We're working with you to ensure that the student is able to be successful in your class and for the next level when it comes to vertical alignment in education. So then the teachers are able to communicate with us back and forth and give us information that we need. So if there's a slump at some point and they're going downward in their grade, then we can bring them back up and say, hey, what happened on this test or what happened on this quiz, and give them the support that they need. And from a parent perspective, we're aligning with them to say, hey, these are our expectations for homework. We need you to check the student to make sure that they're getting the homework done, for one. If they're not getting the homework done and you're also not able to help them as well, then let's go ahead and take care of that. Give us a call, shoot us a text message, and we'll go ahead and support them as well. If they're a coach, the goal is they have to be academically ready for them to play, right? They have to be eligible. So we keep them eligible to make sure that they are able to play sports in high school, or if they're getting ready for NCAA, we need to make sure that they're able to get past that scenario, right?
Yep.
Including all those people in one scenario allows us to really hold a really high benchmark of success and expectations between everybody in that circle of communication. And that's kind of where we have a nice niche, right? Our team is filled with about 20. Well, actually, we just hired a few more. So about 29 consultants in the Dallas-Fort Worth footprint. And we have people outside of the state as well. And we have people from all kind of backgrounds, from med school students to IT consultants, engineers, educators, instructional coaches, and more, to really relate to these students. We have a 90% millennial team, including myself. So we're able to relate to the students at hand and be able to build those particular partnerships and close those learning gaps and, those opportunity gaps that they may not have had before coming to INC Tutoring. So
how do you find that teachers are pretty receptive to working with you guys? I would think so, but
for the most part, they are. There are scenarios where we have to look when it comes to private schools. There's a third stakeholder that is involved, which is normally a liaison. They call them a school liaison. And so what happens is you connect with them to really get the knowledge you need, and that particular liaison then connects with the student, right? Gotcha. So you kind of become the intermediary person instead of being direct. But to get the goal accomplished, you just really need to outline your goals on what you're looking for with that student and how you're going to meet not only their objectives, or not only our objectives, but also their objectives, to make sure that partnership is great. At times, you'll see that you'll have a little bit of apprehensive responses saying, hey, wait a minute, we've been doing this for a while, it's okay. And we're like, no, don't worry. We're here to partner with you. A lot of the organizations out here, when it comes to center-based models that are out in the field, they're not ran by educators. They're ran by business people.
Right.
And so they may not understand what it looks like to have an educational viewpoint when it comes to running an actual tutoring particular component. With me, on the other hand, I've been through the school system, I've taught teachers, and I've been a professor. So you have somebody running an organization that has been through the education process, understands it very well, and knows where kids need to always go when it comes to student success.
Okay, very good. And how do the students respond? I mean, do you find them, as they start to have more success in a subject that potentially they were struggling with, do they start to enjoy it, or does it at least not stress them out as much? How does that kind of factor into the student's life?
So funny you say that, because literally last week we had somebody come send us a message via text and says, the mom says, hey, it's the end of the school year, right? And she's like, you guys have been working with my student for quite a while now, and all of a sudden, math is his favorite subject. You know what I mean? He hated math to begin with, but over a course of time, I think we worked with him for about 7 or 8 weeks. And we really were able to flip not only the thought process, but their attitude against learning mathematics, right? And it's not only the math that we tutor, right? We do STEM subjects, which of course encompasses science, technology, engineering, and math. We do all test preps. We didn't do LSAT, but we just found somebody to do LSAT yesterday. So now we do, appreciate it. So now we do all test preps pretty much. English, reading, writing, and foreign languages. So we really cover the whole suite of academic content areas. And in addition to that, we're also going to be offering, with another partner, we're going to be offering academic counseling services and academic coaching services as well. So we are able to guide them in the right direction when it comes to when are you supposed to be taking the ACT and SAT, when are you supposed to be applying for scholarships, when are you supposed to be applying for schools. Like, that component is really going to also be coming into play. And we also tutor dance, which is kind of interesting.
No, that's kind of out of left field.
Yeah, so the dance is kind of different. We tutor choreography and technique for ballet, hip hop, jazz, classical, and a few different African dance. So I mean, all of these different things, we're really thinking outside the box and being very unique and pivotal to where we need to be in the tutoring space. But just to finalize the question at hand, is that we are making the students feel really good about themselves as a person and making them feel really good about the content that they're learning, because once you do that, they build confidence, and now they're able to teach other students in their class or their peers how to do the work. And of course, that changes the game, because guess what? Now that they know the content and they're able to teach others, it becomes beneficial for not only the parents, but it becomes beneficial for the student. I mean, for the teacher as well.
It's interesting that you guys are going into things like dance, right? Because I'm a musician, have been most of my life, but I always found that my effort in the arts was very closely tied to my understanding of subjects like math. There's a lot of similarity. There's a lot of math in music, if you will.
Right.
And I've always felt like those things really complement each other, even though they seem very disparate. When you kind of have that balance, the whole experience is a little bit better. So it's interesting that you guys are going into that, but many other things as well. Then, so it's really not just about math, but you're talking about English and STEM subjects and things like that.
And I actually was second chair B flat clarinet when I played in a band.
I started on saxophone. I moved to guitar, but
I couldn't figure out how to do the jaw thing. I couldn't figure out how to do the little drop your jaw on the sax. I wanted to play sax so bad. I wanted to be like a Kenny G. Yeah. But it was one of those things, right? I couldn't get. But folks will see us out there in the world primarily for mathematics, because everybody mostly comes to us for math and science. But we have to really get them to understand and remember, not only do we do STEM, but we do English, we do foreign languages, we do writing, we do reading, we do help with resumes, we do help with essay writing, all that stuff that comes with academic in general. We handle it all. So you can come to us as a one-stop shop, whether it's STEM, English, statistics, writing papers, for dance, for getting into college, for access, for FAFSA, all that stuff. You can come to us as a one-stop shop.
So do you guys also, you talked about STEM, but do you go into the individual subjects? So for example, math was a fairly strong subject for me, but when I got into college and I started taking chemistry, I really struggled with chemistry. I loved the subject. I actually found chemistry to be absolutely fascinating, and I thought, if I could understand this stuff, I could make anything. If you really know how chemistry works,
Slime,
you can figure out how to make anything. Yeah. But the math side of the chemistry, for whatever reason, I would just study. I had a great teacher in college who would spend a lot of time with me outside of class. Okay. But I was like a straight C student. Like I just really it took all my effort for some reason in chemistry to get that.
Okay.
But do you guys do things like astronomy and chemistry and those other science subjects that are intensely math based?
Yes. So the breakdown of the science component in our organization, we do biology, and this is at a high school level or a collegiate level. We do physics, of course. We're looking at in high school, we're looking at regular physics, or we're looking at AP, or we're looking at pre-AP, up to collegiate and advanced collegiate physics. We do astronomy. It's not necessarily requested as much, but we can handle that. Chemistry, I'd say, is one of the first sciences that we get the most requests for, obviously because it's math based. But like you said before, it's a fun content. If I wasn't a mathematician, I would totally be a chemist, because I loved chemistry. And organic was tough. That's a tough class. But when it comes to nomenclature and dimensional analysis and titrations and things of that nature, I would say I would have totally been a very close second in chemistry. But we do all the different types of sciences when it comes to the breakdown component in our organization. So we do everything. And on the math side, we do everything from your Algebra 1 in high school to your college, engineering calculus 3, all the way to your elementary math, to your middle school math, and the whole vibe. So
all right.
Everything.
Good stuff, Jay, man. We're glad to have you in Frisco. I know there's a lot of people that are going to hear this and will benefit from the things that you guys do for students, and even for those that may be going back to school themselves. They're thinking of second careers, they're going back to college, and if you haven't done some of these things in a while, especially math, getting your head back into it is a challenge. So definitely, how do people reach you if they want to explore the options with INC Tutoring?
So they would reach us. They can go to our website at www.inktutoring.com, which is INC. N is in November, C is in cat, and then tutoring. We're also on Twitter. at INC Tutoring. We're on Facebook as well as It's Not Complicated Tutoring. And then on Instagram, we're also at INC Tutoring. And I just want to just really add, like you said, we're really glad to be in Frisco because there's a couple of things that we heard when we came to town. We did a survey and said, hey, what do you guys need and what's missing from Frisco? And number one answer to that question was, we're tired of going to centers and we are not getting the actual individual help that we need for our students based on their learning style.
Gotcha.
And so that's our main focus. That's our claim to fame. And we're looking actually at a sneak peek. We're looking at trying to build a learning management system with AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning infused in it to do some more things to really learn students when it comes to a tutoring scenario and adding other components to it that can be the best educational scenario for students nationwide. So
fascinating. We'll keep a close eye on that. And I love the the mashup of your IT and educational careers coming together there now. So good stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, Jay, listen, man, thank you very much for being here today, guys.
Yes,
reach out to them, inctutoring.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're going to link all of this stuff up. We'll make sure that the phone number is there. You can find them on Lifestyle Frisco, but I think if you just go out to inctutoring.com, that's going to be the fastest thing to do.
Yes.
And if you or your student needs help or just wants to accelerate their learning in a particular subject, give these guys a call. Thanks again, Jay.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
You bet. And thanks to all of you for listening to the Frisco Podcast. We'll talk to you next time.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.